Just now, two individuals who did escape Afghanistan with the help of Senator Cotton. That's Syed, is a college student who was brutally attacked by the Taliban while trying to get to the airport. And Mohammed, whose identity we are keeping hidden, is an interpreter and an American citizen who fled with his family. Syed, tell us about your story.
Yes, so my story is that I tried to go to the airport as I got an email from the embassy that said that I had to make my way to the Karzai airport. And as I made my way there was already 1,000 people there. I mean, people that were there from the first day that was inside the airport. They stayed outside when they were even kicked out. A lot of people that was not documented, and a lot of U.S. citizens. But we had gate passes and everything. We went through the gates, we went to the gates, we went through the crowd and went to the gates, but then the Taliban, and there was 3 gates. So first we tried the Afghan army gate. They looked at our passports, they looked at our citizenship and gate pass. They still wouldn't let us in, even though we had gate passes. They would hit us with the back of a machine gun. They would hit us with some stones and everything. So we tried 2-3 times, couple times. They would hit women. I mean, we saw children die in there. We saw everybody getting on the ground. We saw the air forces, the Taliban and the Afghan army shooting on the ground, shooting on the air. They even used to throw a flashbang. So we tried several days. We tried 2-3 days to get through the gates. But we were supposed to be the priority because we were the U.S. citizens. But I guess apparently they would let people in that they knew. So mainly they target Hazaras, which they, the way we speak, the dialogue and everything, they would only... Yes.
Yeah, so you feel lucky that you have gotten out, correct?
Yes, I mean, we literally lost hope. We went 3 times. We still couldn't get through the crowd, and it was just impossible for us to get out with the women and children that we had.
Let me go to Mohammed. Mohammed, you were an interpreter. You had gone back for a funeral of a family member in Afghanistan. Then you were stranded there. You still have family there. You helped the Americans out. Now, all of that data that would probably identify you and connect you to your family is in the hands of the Taliban. That's got to concern you tonight.
Yeah, actually, sir, most people are worried about his family, about those friends and family which they are stuck in the gates and they can't enter the gates. Yeah, we really worry about our family, and my relatives are still waiting to enter the gates with complete documents, but most people are waiting and try to enter the gate without any documents. That's why they make problem for everyone.
Yeah, and the odds are getting less every hour, as I'm sure you're aware, and which I feel terrible for. Syed, thank you. Mohammed, thank you for sharing your stories. One of the reasons both these gentlemen got out safely is because of Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. He helped get both Mohammed and Syed out of Afghanistan. Senator, Joe Biden's taken a whopping, I think, 5 questions throughout all of this. He's never answered why didn't he act in May, June, and July as the Taliban was taking huge geographical areas within Afghanistan. He hasn't explained why he's sticking to this August 31st deadline, and why doesn't our military stay till every American is out of there, and why he trusts the Taliban, because I don't particularly trust them, Senator, and I don't think you do either.
No, Sean, I don't. I think Joe Biden hasn't explained those things is because they're all inexplicable. I'm very glad that we could have played a small part in helping Syed and Mohammed and their families get back to the United States. Couldn't be prouder of all the young men and women on my team who have been pitching in around the clock for the last 2 weeks to help all of our fellow citizens. But I think the news tonight gives an example of why it's so ill-advised for President Biden to be rushing to this August 31 deadline. All Americans around the airport have been told to leave immediately because of a terrorist threat. Let's hope that there's not a terrorist attack for the safety of our troops. But the very fact that Joe Biden is sticking stubbornly to this August 31 deadline indicates that all it takes is for the Taliban or ISIS or Al-Qaeda to continue with these kind of threats to prevent hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans from being left behind enemy lines come Tuesday.
You know, first of all, Senator, I want to, on behalf of so many, I know you helped a lot of people. I mean, in the hundreds, and you've been active and pretty much around the clock with this. Senator, we're pulling out. Our military is coming home. We're told by everybody there, and my sources told me tonight that what Joe Biden and Jen Psaki are saying publicly is not what is in the intelligence, that they are spinning it in a way that is inaccurate. Has that been your belief? Is that what you're hearing?
Sean, I've heard the same thing. In fact, I heard just today from a senior CIA officer who's appalled at what's happened over the last couple of weeks there, and what's happening not just with our own citizens and green card holders, but also with the Afghans who risk their lives to serve alongside of us, and that Joe Biden knew, or certainly should have known, that this kind of ill-advised, ill-planned, chaotic withdrawal would lead to the collapse of the Afghan army when he pulled out all the support, for example, for the Afghan Air Force, and he did so in the middle of the fighting season. Again, you can disagree about the decision to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan. Reasonable people have different viewpoints on that, but the way Joe Biden executed that decision has practically ensured that hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans
could have done
will
it
be left
in May,
behind Taliban lines.
June, July.
Yeah.
Senator, do you believe we're actually going to leave American citizens behind and abandon them behind enemy lines? Is that where we're headed?
I mean, Sean, it certainly seems like that. Today, Tony Blinken said there's only 1,500 American citizens left. That's much lower than the administration has been saying. In fact, 2 hours earlier, his aides were briefing congressional staff and said 4,100 Americans were in Afghanistan. I don't think they got 2,600 Americans out in 2 hours. I think they're spinning these numbers, and come Tuesday night, when there are hundreds or thousands of Americans left, they're going to say, well, they didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay there. I guess that's their decision. Too bad for them, and we're out of here. Because I think Joe Biden knows that there are going to be Americans there, and he once again is not taking responsibility for his disastrous miscalculation.
Senator, I know you and many other senators, Republican and Democrat, and congressmen, Republican and Democrat, have gone way above and beyond to help our fellow Americans out. I think each and every one of you. Thank you.